Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome to today's message. Today we are circling back to the topic of relationships. So today I want to talk into a particular topic that I really hope just kind of gets you thinking where you may have some unspokens in any particular relationship. That if you cleared, it would make room for much more meaningful connection and flow of the relationship, and also just kind of free yourself, because sometimes when we have unspoken things in our relationships, it takes up like a lot of our energy, our mental capacity, and so I'm going to share with you guys something that's been unfolding in my life for a little while, and today just randomly I got to do some clearing on it. I wasn't expecting it, but I bumped into somebody that I was kind of feeling a little bit of an unspoken kind of ickiness that I really just wanted to clear up. And I want to say that, and you might have this experience, so I'd love to hear from you guys as well. But as I've gone on the journey of my personal development, it's kind of like you get more and more into this subtle realm of really just being attuned to what feels right and what just doesn't feel right. And so what I might share with you guys today may or not, feel like a big thing for you. But for me, it's been kind of heavy because I've become more and more sensitive to when things just aren't in alignment, and to the point where I can't deceive myself out of it, which used to be my past strategy, to just keep myself from having to deal and face things that are uncomfortable. So I just can't do it. I've lost that gift, if it is a gift. And so what I want to share with you guys today is a little bit of a story about what happened, what's been happening and unfolding over the last few weeks, kind of just not a huge thing, but just something that was kind of weighing on me a little bit. And today, like I said, I managed to clear that. But a quick hello to Bill. I see you here, my friend. Good to have you live as usual. Hope you're doing amazingly well. But yeah, as you guys are tuning in, drop me some comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, any questions, any words of wisdom that you want to share on this topic. But we're going to look at relationships. So any relationship that you have in your life, just kind of, I want this message, or I hope for this message, to just kind of trigger you to kind of think, is there anything that's being unspoken in a relationship in my life right now that might be robbing me of the opportunity for a more meaningful connection with this person? Or it's just taking up mental space and capacity within me, right? That could be the thing as well. Yeah, hey Bill from sunny Florida. I love it. And DB's in the house. Good to see you as usual as well, my friend. So let's get into it. So clearing up unspoken relationship dynamics frees you up for meaningful connection. All right. And so if you think about those relationships, I'm going to give my working example, or we've got a couple under my belt at the moment. But yeah, I want this to just kind of get you thinking about in your own life. But what happened for me today, unexpectedly, I actually ended up at the exact same spot at the right time to actually bump into somebody that I'd met a couple of months ago. So a couple of months ago, I was having a bit of a moment in my life where I was walking down in my local area. I was walking along the river, and I had a bit of a relationship challenge, and I found myself just kind of exiting that environment for a moment, and I went down and I sat on the water. And within like a minute, like this man approached me and he just asked me, he's like, hey, are you okay? Like, I just noticed that you might not be okay. And I wasn't like crying or anything. You just sensed that, and it opened up this amazing conversation. And you guys who've been following me for a while, my favorite thing in the world is kindness between strangers, right? Like where there's just no transaction. There's nothing I need from you. I'm not trying to do something transactionally, right? It's just like from the kindness of my heart, human to human. Like I see somebody in need, like, I want to reach out if there's anything I can do. And that's the situation that happened here. So it really melted my heart. And it was exactly what I needed at that time. I really just needed somebody to have a chat to with no attachment, no, feeling as though that might burden them or any of those sort of things. And it was just this awesome chat between humans. Anyway, we chatted for an hour or an hour and a half or something, and had this really deep, meaningful conversation. And we ended up just exchanging, I think just Facebook details or something. And basically there was a little bit of connection afterwards, but I ran into one of my patterns. One of my patterns that I have been challenged with a lot in my life, ever since I can remember, has been kind of this this resistant part, this overwhelmed part, this resistant part to the back and forth really long emails or messages. I'm a very much in the moment, real time kind of person. That's why I love doing Facebook Lives, all right? Like in the moment, spontaneous, like what's on my heart, what's inspiring right here, right now. And I can tend to feel quite bogged down when I get like really long emails or whatever, and like they're beautiful things, right? And if we're having a conversation, we'll probably be talking a hell of a lot more than any words written in an email. But there's just something, I still am not 100% on top of that. But I tend to interpret things like that. Oh, I feel a bit overwhelmed. I don't know, when I want to get back to this. It's no longer in the flow of real time. It's now in my mindset, it's been like, oh, now it's an obligation, right? So that's on me, right? That's something that I'm working on. I've been working on for a while, probably could do with a little bit more attention. But that's how I operate. I can tend to get in that pattern of a bit of overwhelm, bit of like not really inspired by the back and forth and never ending cycle like that. I'd rather be real time, catch up in person or in the flow of a conversation on a call or something like that, right? So we had a couple of email exchanges and then I kind of just dropped off. Now, all given there was some content in an email that just felt like a bit too, it just didn't sit right, and it was going to take some kind of reconciliation on my part to actually resolve that and respond to that and so forth. And it was one of those things that just kind of kept going to, oh, I really want to do that, get back to that person. And it just kept going from the next day, the next day, the next day. And then, Christmas comes and New Year's comes and it's a whole new year. And then it just kind of falls away, right? But every time I'd go on this walk to the river, he owned a yacht on the river. And so I might see it, and I just there was this kind of energy waste, this kind of I haven't got back to him and I hope I haven't offended him, or, this kind of mental chatter that we create for ourselves that wastes and disperse a lot of energy, unnecessarily, right? And anyway, it just kind of went for a while, and then, I just kind of almost forgot about it, but there was still kind of that leak in my energy, that I haven't resolved that. And so what did the universe do for me today? Put me in the exact right spot. I was approaching the register. He was at the register at this cafe, and I was like, oh, hey, and I connected, and I didn't expect to see him. I had no plan whatsoever, but just what unfolded out of me just felt so freaking good. And I just owned it. I just completely owned. I just said, hey, look, I just want to address something. I'm just so sorry that I haven't responded to your emails. And I said, it's not anything on you. It's all on me. It's something that I'm working on. I tend to get, and I just explained, I just tend to get a bit overwhelmed with emails. It's just not my mode of communication. And I'm really sorry about that. That's, that wasn't okay, right? I just completely owned it, and there was no fear or anxiety driving it or anything. It just felt like the just the right things just flowed out of me in the moment that I had that opportunity. And look, he received it really well, and I don't know how he was processing that, or what he might be sensitive to, but what he shared with me was all good. And it just, when you take ownership, right? Just clear, open-hearted, full responsibility, right? It almost doesn't matter how somebody else responds to that, because you'll just see it for whatever they're dealing with. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, right? Just where they're exactly at with that situation. But when you're coming from that clear ownership, 100% responsibility, not, oh, it's only 50% responsibility on my part, but you shouldn't have said this, or you shouldn't have done that, or whatever, that will just get you tied in meaningless connections everywhere you go, surface level, and you'll never go deep, right? Because there's always part of you that's holding back or expecting somebody else to go first, or all the rest of it, right? So this was just this beautiful opportunity for me to just take 100% responsibility and be proud of who I am. And I just feel like I just put a seal on that leak. That energy leak is no longer there, right? I don't have to expend any more time on that, because I just owned it. Right? I owned it. I haven't resolved that pattern within me, right? That will take, the next layer of the onion within me. But that's not the point, right? The point with that was taking ownership no matter where you are. You don't have to expect yourself to be perfect or have it all resolved or sorted out. You just have to address the unspoken stuff, clear it out, speak it up, right? And from that place, there's just feel that sense of energy as you get yourself back again, right? That's the kind of experience. And now I feel like, okay, that's one of my little little energy leaks in relationships that I've resolved now. I've got a couple of others. And so I'm really just open and building that momentum to clear up a couple of other little energy leaks that might not seem, very big, but I've got such a desire to have such pure connection, really open, really raw, really authentic, really deep, really meaningful connection with anybody that I have in my life. That's the standard now, I even, just to give you another example for you guys to work out with this, I had a little, a really quick little conversation with somebody just this last week, and it was this nice, fun conversation, where I said something that I could sense immediately was received in a way that kind of generated potentially a little bit of shame in this person. And it wasn't at all coming from that place within me, but I take responsibility not only for my intentions, but also how things can be received, right? I can't just expect everybody to receive things in the way that I intend them. And part of the purity of the connection and the desire to have real depth and authenticity, you have to look after safety, tons. And how do you look after safety? You have to repair, right? When damage is done, you have to repair. And if you don't repair the tiny little minuscule leak, right? So you got an air mattress, it's got one little tiny pinprick. If you don't seal that back up, no matter how tiny in comparison it is to the whole bed, by the end of the night, by the morning, you're going to be flat on the floor with a crook back, right? The same is true for our relationships, or at least that's the standard in my life, and we're all entitled to have whatever standards we want in any area of our life, but I hold such a high standard for that. And whether that's going to be relationships with those people I'm resolving with or not, doesn't matter. I'm the one practicing that muscle, building that muscle for all of it benefits all of my relationship dynamics. And so this little moment in time this past week, that's a little energy drain for me, because I sensed in the moment, that didn't land how I intended it. And I'm not making any excuses for what I intended. I just want to own that that's how it was received. You know, that's how it could have been received. And I just take ownership of that. I don't need to explain it away. I don't need to justify myself. I just need to take ownership. Hey, I saw that that could be the case. And if it was, that's all on me. I'm really sorry about that, right? Like, you know, so just owning it, not from this needy, fearful, like people-pleasing way, but just like complete transparency. You know, maybe I might have got it wrong. I'm pretty sure I got it right, but maybe I got it wrong, you know, and then some curiosity is there. And this person might say to me, oh, no, didn't feel that at all, you know, and oh, all right, cool. Well, we're good, you know, so it doesn't matter, but like clearing up unspoken relationship dynamics will just allow you to have the meaningful connection that you ultimately want, because those tiny little pinpricks in that air mattress that'll give you a crook back by the morning, right? Those are what rob us from trust in our relationship, safety in our relationship, and now all of a sudden we just got a surface level connection, right? We're not really going deep. We're not really creating anything meaningful. We don't feel as though we're free to be all of who we are in relationship with one another. And to me, I'm just like, what the hell would be the point? I can give that to myself, right? I love my relationship with myself. I love spending time with myself. I love how I treat myself. And so that kind of sets a standard and the tone for every other relationship that I have in my life. Right? That's what I want. If I can have a better relationship in my own proximity, like why am I hanging out with somebody else where that gets lowered? It's just not going to happen, right? And so when you use other relationship dynamics as a mirror, it's actually a mirror into how you treat yourself, how you take care of yourself, and clearing up anything that doesn't feel right within your own system, right? That is what you're doing. No matter how anybody else responds, no matter whether they're going to be in your life or not, it just simply doesn't matter. What matters is how you show up and how you keep your finger on the pulse of what feels in integrity and what feels just out of alignment. And don't be afraid to speak up the unspeakables. If it is a relationship where you do not feel safe to speak up those little things, like, you know, for whatever reason, and that's your prerogative, you don't have to involve somebody else if that doesn't feel totally safe, if they have shown themselves to be abusive or in some way, shape or form, whatever. You've got to gauge that and discern that for yourself. If that's the case, my invitation to you would be to do some real ownership in some journaling, maybe share it with somebody else in your life that you trust and you can be open with, and just clear that out and just talk that out, right? And mitigate against shame and energy leaks and all that stuff that robs us of the opportunity to have amazing relationships, not only with everybody around us, but actually really within ourselves, all right? So that is my message for you guys today. I really hope that it lands for you, and I definitely want to check in and just say a quick hi. And I'm always running late because I just get on a roll, and I love getting to have the opportunity to talk about what is on my heart on whatever day it is. So I really hope this has landed, but let me check in. So Bill's in the house, and DB. Yep, Bill from sunny Florida. I love that. And hello to you, DB, and Jose, and Judy, and Phil. Awesome to see you guys. Bill, impressed with the depth of your wardrobe. I love that. Yeah, well, I get so many funny comments about that. And yes, quick funny story on this before I run out the door. My wardrobe actually collapsed a couple of weeks ago now. So, and it's still in the process of getting resolved. So yes, I do have a lot of clothes. It's the one thing that, I'll tell you why. I dress how I feel. And there's so much in that. I'm very connected to like expressing how I feel on the inside with my wardrobe. It just changes things. But yeah, I know I've got a billion clothes. I know. Love that, Bill. And yes, it is here. And Joe and Bill, get rid of as much bad karma as possible in this lifetime. I'm with you on that. You know, that's a lot of my practice at the moment. And just like as you go on that journey, just clearing things up, I just feel so much lighter. Like I really do feel as though I resolve that piece of karma, right? In that dynamic. And so I've got a couple other ones to do, like I said. But yeah, absolutely. And Andra is here, and Phil, loving that this is resonating with you, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're doing amazingly well. And Ty is here as well. So good to see each and every one of you guys. I do have to run out the door. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you for showing up. I hope this message landed for you, and I'd love to hear from you. If there's a relationship in your life that you've got something unspoken that you could speak up about, clear it, and just open the door for more meaningful connection, whether that's with that person or at least at the most, really, it's with yourself, right? That's really key. So much love coming your way, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So for day 27 tomorrow. Wow.